Hey, this is Steve with Best Bid, and I'm excited today to go over some of the more in-depth features of the Best Bid Next Generation. A lot of things are the same, but a lot of things are different. So I want to start by the backup. I've discovered lately that I'm amazed at how many people do not back up their software. They don't back up their estimates. So I'm going to give you the how-tos of how to do it. When you do it is up to you. But my recommendation is once you get all of your settings, such as company information and tax rate, license number, all these things set in your computer, that you'd back up a fresh copy of it and store it outside your computer. It doesn't do much good to have it saved on your desktop if your computer crashes or someone steals your computer or for whatever happens, you've lost it all anyway. So store your backups off your computer in a safe place, and you can always get back to where you were. So this is kind of a simple task. It's a little more complicated than the Hybrid Pro, but here's what we do. We go to Tools, Backup Database. It says see User Steve Application Data, Roman, Best Bid, Estimates. Okay. I'm going to back this up on my desktop where I know where it is. Okay. So now a difference is this backs up into a zipped file. Now you can change the name of the zippered file, or you can change the name if you put it in a regular file, but you cannot change the name of what's inside here. So when we open this up, we're going to see now that inside that file is a folder called Estimates, and then this is going to be your database. Estimates is going to be your drawings. This Best Bid Estimating New is going to be your database. So let's create a folder. Oh, shoot. You could give this a specific date if you wanted to. And we're going to move these two files into the folder. We're going to make sure the two files are in the folder. Okay. These two files must be in the same folder, be copied into the same folder before you can use the database. So now we have backed up our database. We're going to close this program. So here is another feature. You can hold the control key while you click the Best Bid icon, and it's going to open up a folder or screen that says Select Database. So you just go through and find your database. Now all you need to do is select the database, but it must be in the same folder with the estimates. You can hit open, and now we're going to open that database. It's going to give you information that tells you that you're using a different database and it's temporary. Now you can move this to a different computer and load it on a different computer. You can save it. You can do whatever you want to with it. If you loaded it on a different computer, you have the option to go to Tools and make that database be the default database. So if you had computer A set up exactly like you wanted it, and you moved the database and estimates to computer number 2, you could load it and select default database, and from that point on, the computer number 2 would be working off computer number 1's database. So hope that gives you an idea how to move, store, and create backups for your database. So another important feature that we have that a lot of people do not use is the material summary. So material summary is a great look at the material, and you can sort this out to find pretty much anything you want to. So if you wanted to see how much EMT, half-inch EMT you wanted, you could just sort it down to half-inch EMT. If you wanted to see how much half-inch EMT for building number 2 you needed, you can just sort it down to building number 2. So that's a great way to sort and find out how much product that you need for a specific part of the project. So I'm going to reset all this. Another great feature about this is the substitute feature. Let's say that you finished the job and you entered half-inch EMT, but you read the specs that 3/4 minimum. So you can go to substitute an item, and let's just run in here and put EMT. So you can change it for just that one item or all like items. So we'll change all the half-inch to 3/4. So now all of our conduit is 3/4. While we're on this material summary page, so a lot of things you can do with it. Of course, you can see how you can sort through all of your headings. You can scroll it down, but let's say you wanted to order all your half-inch items, half-inch EMTs. So we're going to go request for pricing. You're going to put in attention to and return to. First, we have to sort this down. We'll say half-inch conduit, straps, couplings, and connectors. So that's all the half-inch we have for building 1 and 2. We can send this off for special pricing and get our prices back. Then we can also create a purchase order. You can ship to, return to, and then any special notes. And then you can send out your POs. So you can make substitutions. You can get pricing. You can do POs. You can get a complete material summary of all the parts that's in here. You can print this out. So there's a lot can be done from this page. Now, if we're on this page, this works for a lot of pages. Let's say we do not need this group heading. You would get on any of these headings and right-click the mouse, choose Column Chooser. This allows you to drop this heading off the list. It also allows you to add headings. You might need to add headings. Maybe you need UPC codes, or maybe you need something else on your list that's not there. If it's not shown, you can hit add, and these are different items that you can move to this square and then move from this square to the headings. So anything that's in here, you can move over. And this is called column chooser. Column chooser. A lot of times you will find that you need to add a filter editor or in a show and find panel. So this helps you to search and find things. So these are pretty important to study and kind of know. So I think that's all there is to that. This is a great place to modify all your pricing. So if you were looking through your prices and you see that you need to modify your 1/2-inch conduit, you can select it. You can choose open record. Let's change this to 48 cents. And this is going to change all your 1/2-inch EMT. Just to check, we'll go to 1/2-inch EMT. All the prices are 48 cents. So it's a great way to change pricing on the fly. So if you're doing multiple buildings and you're doing all in the same estimate, you may have a need to break out a building and see the cost of that particular building. So when you're doing your assemblies, you have a lot of different sorting options. So you can say lighting assembly building 1, job phase building 1. You can change the location. So the more information you put, the better sorting that you can do in the end. So let's just see if we can break out building number 1 on this sample. So a good place to start is the assembly summary. So we have lighting for building 1, receptacles for building 1, and switch for building 1. So we're going to have to do a little manual to do this, but let's just export this information to Excel. And we're just going to call this assembly 1, 2, 3. So I can find the assembly 1, 2, 3. Sorry it took so long. So now you can go in and we'll just say lighting for building number 1, just so we can physically see it. Receptacles for building number 1, and switches for building number 1. All right, so we have lighting, building number 1, receptacles, and switches. Now we can go over here and we can bring these in, and these are our total for building number 1. Only have 3 assemblies, but works the same if you have a lot. So it's a little extra work, but it's pretty handy a lot of times. So I hope this helps. So we get a lot of questions about how to add items to the database. I'm going to address that. It's really pretty easy. Several ways of actually doing it. So we're going to go to admin, items. This takes us to the database. Let's say we want to add a box. Let's see. Okay, let's say we wanted to add a box right above this 4x4 box. So the trick to adding the box is easy, but the trick to make it show up where you want to takes a little planning. So you would take this box and you would look at the sorting indexes. You have an ID1, sort index, and lookup. So you have 1818. So your new number would be 1818.1 to make it come in between this top and this bottom. This next one would be 15011. This one would be 15011. And then the new box will come right in between these two top boxes. So we'll open this up, create a new, we'll call this new box. You have to place it twice. So this is the item name, this is description, and this is our description. Sometimes these are different. You might use a slang for this, but then the category is going to be boxes. You don't have to use the UPC. If you have one, you can. You can give it a custom ID. You could type in B, and then when you did B again, it would bring up a box. Your hours. Original cost. Let's make this box be $5. You have hours twice. So here's where it gets tricky. Sorting ID 1, 18.1. I have to change this one to 15011 and 15011. That should bring it in between those two boxes. So we'll go back to the custom assembly or someplace that we can open up the database, add multiple assemblies. Boxes will be under raceways. So there is our new box. It's in between that top Steel City and the next one. So adding the product's easy. Putting it where you can find it is the trick. So that's the trick. Just make sure you get your sorting indexes and your ID and lookup indexes, and you can place the box right where you want. Now, if you're going to add just a handful of items, this would definitely be where you would do it, just like I showed you. If you're going to add a whole list of items, or maybe you wanted to add your whole entire supply houses database to the software, you can do it. So the easy way of doing it is just going to admin, items. You can export out this entire items list. Do not change the name. It will not work if you change the name. So we're going to save this to the desktop and items. So now we have to find this items. We'll open it up. This is our top header. Let's see. So I'm going to go to freeze pane and freeze top row. And that way when we're scrolling, we're all right. So when you're adding to this list, you can create a whole list and you can just copy and paste it to the bottom of the last list. I'm going to show you the ones that you must have. You have to have item name. You have to have description. You do not use discount factor. You will have hours and ID1. You will have lookup, original cost, original man hour, description. You do not need this purchase unit of measure because everything in our software is either going to be each or per foot. You don't use the raceway, sales and measurement, this. You do use sorting index. And if you have the UPC, that's good, but you must have a category. Now you can create your own category in the software, and then you can place the new category here. So let's just say, for example, you had gray bar database you wanted to put in here. You would just type in gray bar right here. But this word here has to be in the software already, or it won't find its place. So then you just would go to your items that you wanted to do, and you just would find, you need to get your UPC if you had it. You need to get your description, price, and just copy and paste it over. Copy and paste it over to the items list. Again, you don't need the ones that are not in yellow. You just save and close with all your new products. You would go to the software and import items from Excel and import all those new items in. And again, if I had one or two, I would do it like my first example. If I had a lot of items to bring in, I'd do it by the second example. As far as changing items, some people like to get super specific about what they're using. A quick and easy way of doing that is just find the item that we automatically put in. For example, this is the box that we put in for lighting. You can change this a lot of ways. You can change it in the default settings. You can scroll down and change the box there. You can change it multiple ways. You can change. You can go to the box in here and actually add to that drop down and change the box, change the covers. This would you have these boxes. You can add to this list. That is an easy way of doing it as well. If you always are going to use a specific box, just as easiest way is we already have this one defaulted. Just select it, go to the open record, and change that box to whatever box you want it to be or whatever you want it to say. If you want it to say specifically something else or with grounding stinger and included, whatever you want it to be, that's the easiest way just to get the exact product that you want. If you change it here, you have to change it here and here. So I hope that helps you get through that. Some people that we talk to, they like to go to project before they start their project. And then they like to go to project summary. And from here, they will start kind of backwards. They will start by putting in their overhead and profit, and a bond if they have it, engineer if they have it, overwrite the taxes if they have it. They'll set the labor now so that later they won't have to when they're finishing the job. So totally not necessary to do this. But some people elect to. So they go to the project and then make these settings first. It's not a big deal, but while we're on projects, you can do change orders here. So you normally would go ahead and do your cost analysis as an estimate, and then you just would fill out your information, order number, description, attention to, return to, date complete, description of the change order. You can break it out here with material, labor quantity, and overhead, and rentals, and labor burdens, and anything that you want to, the selling price. And then you can print this change order. You can also create requests for information. So you can send in your request for information so it becomes part of a record. You can change from here. You can change, add to the quoted items when you're getting quotes. You can add to the locations when doing sorting. So a few things you could do from here in the project. Just look through them, see if they're beneficial to you. Just want to let you know that they're there. When you go to the job phase, you can also add a new job phase here just by create a new job phase, and it'll automatically be stored. So that's another way of doing it. Sometimes that's easier. Also, when you're substituting items from this screen, a lot of people don't know it, but you can highlight this box here and then change an item. And you have a find box, and you can sort for a different box if you want to use it. So if you wanted that to be a 4 11/16 box, you just change it. So that's the way that you can change on the fly. So here's another feature that people usually don't discover, and you may have a need for. It's in the software, so you may can find a use for it. Go to the Takeoff. So you can go to, let's just go to counts, as we always would. Create a group lights. We'll count just a few light fixtures. Okay, so we counted a few light fixtures. And then we're going to go to measures. Create a new group. Now, for the estimating side, we already know how this works. So this can be twofold. We can create a tag. Now this part is for the estimating side. When we transfer this over, all this information would be put into the estimate. But we have this ability to go to Edit Tags and Measures. Now you can select, again, this doesn't go to the estimate, but you can select 1/2 inch EMT, 10-foot raceway for extra length. You can put in here 3 conductors. Let's just call this black. Let's call it blue, white, and green. Extra length of conductor per point, we'll leave 0. Extra boxes per point, we'll just say 1. So we're going to set this like this. And then we're going to count or measure now. We're going to save and close this. We have a report here that most people never know. So you can open this report, and this can be your counts. This can actually be exported to all these formats, including Excel. So you could put a cost for that fixture if you wanted to, and a man hour for that fixture if you wanted to, and actually come up with a price. This also prints out. Now we have this second report as measurements. So this is going to tell us, this is what's going to go into the software. We have 13 points, 80 foot, half-inch EMT with an 80 foot of number 12, blue, white, and green, and 13 boxes. So you may find a use for this. You can manipulate it to do other things, but there's 2 reports here that most people don't know. They don't affect the estimate unless you want to print it out and enter it in. Some people do little quick change orders with this feature here, but just want to let you know that it was available. So I want to show you some extreme manipulation using Romex on the commercial side. So we have 2 control panels. One is the control panel, which is for commercial work, and one is the control panel for residential work. Now, it's still the same estimate, so you can work in both these control panels. It all goes into the same estimate. But let's say we have some serious Romex people that do quite large jobs, and they like to use the controls of the commercial side. So here is a function that you can do. So we're going to create lighting. We'll create just 1 lighting tag is all we need. So we're going to go to assembly. So we want to start by changing this EMT to MC. Now we've added, or you can add, any choice of conductor you want to the MC choices. We have, for an example, some 12-2 with ground. So we can actually dial in MC cable, and as a choice of metal clad, we can make it be Romex. Again, you can give you a staple. You can use all the other features that you want. You can hit save, and now this assembly is done with Romex. You can also do the same thing with your switches. So we'll go to Raceways, MC. We'll choose the type of MC. We'll add Romex, choose Romex. So this allows you to do this. You're still going to have your steel boxes and plaster rings, but you'll have Romex as the conductor. You can manipulate all these to be the boxes that you want and just use the devices. So you can actually do residential style work on the commercial side of the control panel if you set it up to do so. So receptacles, new, add some receptacles, go to MC, options, change the MC type to Romex, and you would have to add all your Romexes in here that you would want to use. There's your Romex in this assembly. So that might help you in some ways, just gives you the knowledge to know that you're not stuck with exactly how this comes out of the box. You can make lots of changes. So let's address how we can control our attributes to our raceways. And for example, let's go to custom conduit and wire. Just say we have 100 foot of 4-inch raceway. Our attributes, we have our connectors, we have our strap types, we have our 90s. Let's see. Let's move to rigid 90s. Okay, we can overwrite our default choice. You can make any of these be your default choice, but let's say our default was just a regular 90. We can now have a 30-inch, 36, and 48-inch long sweep 90s. And you can add any 90 that you would like into the software. So the most choices would be if you had PVC, 4-inch PVC. So your choices would be your rigid 90s, because you might possibly use a rigid 90 for PVC, and you have your PVC 90s. So it's a lot of choices. You have all these straps. Now, to add more straps or more 90s or more screws for straps, whatever you want, or what do you want ever the trapeze to consist of, I'll show you how to make those changes. This is throughout the whole software. So we're going to go to Admin. Raceway sizes. And this is a very in-depth screen. And I suggest looking at it before trying to make any changes. But let's go to 4-inch raceway. Double click on it, open it up. It only has lock nuts as a connector type, which makes it a little easier. Well, that's aluminum. Let's go to rigid. It has lock nuts. So when you get to rigid, you just double click on your lock nuts. And this opens up all the attributes to that product. So 4-inch bushing, 4-inch lock nuts. This is your standard 90 galvanized coupler. These are the 90s that we have. Multiplier of 1, so there's just going to be 190. You can add to this list if you can think of anything else that needs to be on there. You can come onto this side, and these are the straps. And these are the screw multipliers. So this one won't have a screw. This one will have a screw. That have a screw. This will have 2 screws. The check it will be the default. So our default for 4-inch rigid is 2-hole strap. Our trapeze is made up of these configurations, these products. You can definitely change that if you want to. Our unistrut is just a unistrut strap. So you need to add this unistrut. This is a really powerful screen to follow. it will do a whole lot for you. If you need other choices, I think these are um, pretty much done. But if you need something else, you can make it. You would want to put a field band in this list, and that would be your choice. So this is the way that works. You just would save and close when finished. If you go to EMT, you're going to have to make the same choices for all 4 choices of connectors. So we'll start with steel screw. So these would be your 90s. These would be your straps. So, and again, this would be the default 2.0 strap. You can change the default here. You can change all the attributes. You can change your list of trapeze items if you'd like to. Add more items here if you'd like to, if you think of anything else that needs to be in there. And these are all your types, your PVC 40. These would be all your 90s. These would be all your straps. So look at it, get it in your head, learn these screens before you try to adjust them, but they're fully adjustable. If you can think of another strap you want, you can certainly add it. So that'll help you with your straps, screws, and all that miscellaneous. Let's go back and look at the changes. I really didn't address how to add, but we'll start with going here. In this trapeze, it's these configurations of products. They can definitely be changed. Double click it, open it up, and this is what's in there. You can go to the database and add more. You can go to here and add more. We actually have some items in the trapeze that you can choose from, like products from here. So if you look at this, this is going to go like these products, and this is the multiplier. So there'll be 8 of these nuts here. You know, there'll be, 8 of the threaded rod. There'll be 2 fender washers, 2 hex heads. And that's going to be strap type trapeze. Screw, we won't use a screw on that. But you can add additional ones by going here, and it creates a new one. We can go over here and we can add to this. Let's just add field band. See if we can find a field band for 4-inch. That's an EMT field band. Probably not one in there for PVC, but I don't think so. Well, you could add it in there, and that's the way that you would do it. You would find your 4-inch field band, you put it in there, click it, and it will go down here and add to your choices. That was kind of a bad example, but you get the point of how you can add different items. If you needed a new type of strap, you can just click new strap here and create it. You might have to add a new type, but if it goes under one of these headings, you can use the heading, choose a screw, choose the screw multiplier. You can make it be default if you want to. So it's very, very versatile little area right here. I think most everything's going to be in there that you need, but there's a lot you can do with it. It's going to be under raceway sizes. So the standard conduit and wire has been changed. You normally are going to start with the takeoff down here, and this is going to import over here. But you can, now you can open this up and choose a size that you want. This is 4 hots, 4 neutrals, and a ground, number 10. So you can choose that, and you can put your length in here. So you can change your strap types. If you want to change your conductors for the ground, neutral, hot, raceway size. Now, to allow for more choices, this goes all the way down to even service size. There's not a lot of service sizes built in here, but so this would be 2-inch raceway with 3 3/0, a neutral 3/0, and number 6 ground. So you can just enter that like that. Go to Admin, Wire Configurations, and this is where you would build any additional feeder size or anything that's needed that's not in here. You just create a new tag and fill it all in. If you want to put a picture, you can go to Paint and create a picture, put it in here. Sorting index is where it's going to show up. But you can build this to pretty much do anything you want it, and you already have it saved. If you do something odd that no one else does, this is the place to do it. So your wire configuration. It's very great addition to the software. So anything you make, again, you can just open this up. You can bring this in from the takeoff side automatically, or you can manually enter it. There's your products. So you can build this to be anything you want it to be. It's a lot of help. Hope you like that. So a little trick. Sometimes people figure it pretty quick, but you can go to Admin Panel, Application Settings, the first button, and you can choose your company to be the default company. So you just would choose the company that is yours and make it be the default company. Save and close, and you won't have to choose anymore. Colors, the next button. This is the colors that you use when you're doing your counting on the takeoff. These are the order that they switch. So the first count will be red, next yellow, orange. You can make this change if you'd like to. You can add many more colors if you want to. You can open this up, and you can see right here, this is the opaqueness of the color. So if you wanted it very opaque, you change that number to 100. If you wanted it not much, if you want it translucent, change it to 10. You can barely see it. So I think our default's about 60. Display order, change everything about it. Let's jump to the screen that adjust for labor difficulty. We have it set for 80 on many screens, and that's where we like to work. Let's see. So labor, these are all the screens, and we have 80% for conduit and wire, custom assemblies 100. You can change these if you want. This is also material adjustment. If you have, if you're a Canadian customer, you may change this to make our US dollar meet your Canadian dollar. You can have this on the residential side as well. It's mostly set at 80. Project summary. This is, we set overhead and profit at 10% so you don't forget to put something in there. Box screw. This is the screw that we use for our boxes. You can change this to a different screw if you like. It's all up to you. If you don't already know how to set up the company, you can go to Admin, Companies. That's one of the first things you'll do. You'll just fill out this. You'll put in your electrical license number, your tax rate at a decimal, bring in your logo, save and close. That'll be your company information, be your company. Connector types, this should just be left alone, already preset. You can play with this contact, but we don't ever use that. Customers, just another one that I don't use, but you could put customers in here if you wanted to just record all their mailing address and fax numbers and contacts. You can put all that in here if you'd like to. Distributors is where you would put in your net pricer. If you go with them, you can you'll get this information to fill this in from net pricer once you join their service. Employees, you can add your employees. I don't use this, but you can bring it all in, bring their photos, bring their pictures in, addresses. You can keep up with all that type of stuff in here if you'd like to. You can build their labor out of these true labor rates. I don't suggest doing it, but doing it. We'll look at that a little bit later. But you have to fill out all this information. It could be handy if you want to just keep your employees in here. Usually there's better softwares that you would enter this information in, but this is here for you to use. If you're using the quotes to put your quotes in, you can enter new quotes and new vendors right from the button here, or you can go to the admin panel and let's see, quoted items. You can add different items that you want to get quoted. You may add a fire alarm, different things that you get prices on. And then you can select vendors. It's going to be who you get your prices from. When you're on the Takeoff and you want to use the library to bring in different counts, like if you wanted to bring in switches instead of creating your own, you can build more here if you'd like to. I just build them as I need them, but you can certainly use the library if you like. So you can see how that works when you're on the Takeoff side. You can just import A, B, C, D, E. If that's the way that the tags lay out, that works fine. So your Takeoff conductors. This is the little screen I showed you at the front of this video about the extra little secret report. These are the wires that can be in that little report. When you edit, go to edit, Takeoff sizes, same with that here. Takeoff settings, just study the screen. This will be your Takeoff settings. You can round up or round up measurement. I do it on the Takeoff itself. This is the round up default for extra, set at 10. You can just go through this if you wanted to make changes. They're pretty much set the way they need to be, but if you feel they want to be different, then that's up to you. So I hope you get a little bit out of that. We'll move on to something different. Periodically, about every 6 months, you need to maintenance your software. So when you're finished with plans that you no longer need, delete the project. So you can open your project and go to jobs that you've already completed, open them up, and delete them. Now the second thing to maintenance your database, you need to right click on the icon, go to Open File Location, go to Database, maintenance your database periodically. This function will clean up your database, perform cleanup, and also you can shrink it. This will keep everything running smooth. It's a good practice. You don't have to do it often. If you're estimating a whole lot, do it about every 6 months. If you're not, once a year will be fine. So that'll be a little good piece of information for you. So let's talk about price updates for a second. Let's open a custom assembly. Let's just bring in a little THHN. So important to keep your wire and conduit prices up for sure. So now that we're on the assembly details page, we can see that these are not price updated. So we're not sure if they're current or not. So we'll run real-time pricing. We'll select THHN. We'll update the pricing. So we'll wait just a second, and this is going to update the prices. I think these prices might be slightly high from the last time. Let's just look. Maybe they're just right on target. 21, 32, 59. They're right. So now we know that these are price updated. And I know that's 30. I know these are correct. Okay. So now we'll run the net pricer, and you'll see the difference. If net pricer was the one that priced these, this net pricer will be checked. So now these are using net pricer prices. And you can tell it's today's date. So that's the difference. These do quite a bit more. Net pricer does a lot more than real-time pricing. Real-time pricing is about $33 a month. Net pricer is about $100 a month. But this is how you can tell if your prices are updated. And you can tell by who updated them. Now, if you want to manually overwrite this price, you have to get rid of the net pricer price. So undo net pricer, and that undoes the net pricer price. Another way to undo it is to run the real-time pricing. This will undo the prices, and you can manually change them. You cannot manually change a price if this has a check by it. You must remove the check first by Undo Net Pricer. Okay, so we're back to using real-time pricing prices. Maybe that explains how to update your prices.